Welcome to part 2 of the weight loss trainers module. Firstly, looking at fat. People generally eat too much fat. However, a certain amount of fat is crucial for good health as it provides fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, as well as essential fatty acids. 20 to 30% of your daily nutritional requirements should come from fat. Unfortunately, however, the average Australian has 43% of their daily requirements coming from fat. The amount of fat consumed is not the only concern, but also the type of fat consumed. The different types of fat are saturated, monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, and trans fatty acids. Saturated fats are found in dairy products, processed meats, skin on chicken, egg yolks, coconut and palm oil, hardened fats, and biscuits, cakes, pastries, etc. These can all lead to an increase in blood cholesterol and therefore should be limited in your diet. In saying that, saturated fat sometimes gets a bad rap. Some saturated fat in your diet is fine. Note also that if you read vegetable fat on a food label, you can generally assume that it is palm oil and therefore not a good choice. Next, we have monounsaturated fats, and they have a beneficial effect on your health when eaten in moderation and when used to replace trans fatty acids. Monounsaturated fats can help reduce bad cholesterol levels in your blood and lower your risk of heart disease and stroke. Monounsaturated fats are found in olive and canola oils, avocado, macadamia nuts, walnuts, pistachios, and almonds. Next, we have polyunsaturated fats. There are two types of polyunsaturated fats, or two main types. They are omega-3 and omega-6. Omega-3 polyunsaturated fats are found in foods such as oily fish like mackerel, salmon, sardines, trout, and tuna, as well as walnuts, almonds, and linseeds. Omega-6 oils are found in foods such as sunflower, safflower, and soybean. The ratio of the amount of omega-3 to omega-6 is essential. Even though both omega-3 and omega-6 are vital for efficient function, if too much omega-6 is consumed in proportion to omega-3, inflammation and illness can be promoted. On the other hand, omega-3 fatty acids have been shown to reduce and even prevent illnesses and ailments. An ideal ratio is 1:1, or at worst 1:4 of omega-3 to omega-6. For most Australians, however, the ratio is up to 1:35. This is largely due to the quality of our food and how our livestock and fish are fed. So too often, our livestock are fed grain, as well as salmon are often fed grain. So that will impact on the level of omega-3 within those products. The benefits of omega-3 include brain health, including memory and focus, protection against coronary heart disease, helping to positively regulate fat burning, reducing triglyceride levels, and reducing LDL cholesterol without lowering the good HDL cholesterol. So as you can see, the benefits of omega-3 are very high. Omega-6 can also help with reducing LDL cholesterol, but a high intake of omega-6 polyunsaturated fats can also lower the good HDL cholesterol at the same time. Next, we have trans fatty acids. Trans fatty acids occur naturally in small amounts in animal fats, for example, butter, meat, and poultry. The large majority of trans fatty acids, however, result from the processing of vegetable oils to increase their solidity at room temperature. Trans fatty acids, or TFA, do to the cells of your body exactly what they do to the food that they are found in. That is, they thicken and harden the cells to reduce the normal entry of nutrients into the cell. This then leads to a buildup of fat deposits on the walls of the arteries, which can then lead to atherosclerosis. TFA are often found in pies, pastries, biscuits, and cakes, as well as many commercially packaged foods, commercially fried foods such as French fries from most fast food chains, and other packaged snacks such as microwave popcorn. TFA have an adverse effect on your health. TFA behave like saturated fat in the body by increasing LDL cholesterol levels, but also reduce HDL cholesterol, but are harder for the body to deal with. Just talking about cholesterol briefly, cholesterol is an essential structural component of cell membranes. You need cholesterol. When we have too much, however, in our system, the excess will be deposited on the walls of the arteries. There are no symptoms of high cholesterol, so regular checks every few years are advisable, especially if you are over 45 years of age. For many people, the first sign of high cholesterol is when they have a heart attack or stroke. There are two types of these carrier lipoproteins: low-density lipoproteins, or LDL, and high-density lipoproteins, HDL. LDL is the major carrier of cholesterol from the liver to the rest of the body. When cholesterol levels are excessive, LDL deposits cholesterol onto the arteries, causing the damage. HDL, on the other hand, mops up cholesterol from the bloodstream and takes it back to the liver. Carbohydrates, like saturated fats, sometimes get a bad rap. Carbohydrates are not the enemy. Carbohydrates are essential for efficient and healthy operation of the brain and body. Firstly, they provide the brain with glucose to allow proper function. Note that 70% of the brain's stored glycogen is depleted during sleep. 2/3 of the circulating glucose at rest is used by the brain, and muscle glycogen cannot be used by the brain. It's simply not available. So carbohydrates, continual carbohydrate intake is very important for brain function. Secondly, the body with energy, so carbohydrates provide the body with energy which allows for an increased level of exercise. Also provides energy during the first few minutes of all activity, and glycogen is needed to help break down fat for energy use. Carbohydrates also provide vitamins and minerals. Vitamins are necessary for growth and development. Minerals are necessary to activate thousands of enzyme reactions within the body. Carbohydrates also provide dietary fiber for bowel health. So dietary fiber cannot be broken down by the digestive system, and it slows the emptying of the stomach, which helps with satiety. So how much fiber is enough? Ideally, 30 grams of fiber per day. You can reach this target by eating the following each day: 4 serves of bread, cereal, rice, or pasta, ideally made from whole grains, 2 pieces of fruit, and 5 serves of vegetables. Ideally, the carbohydrate that you consume should be low in GI. Glycemic Index, or GI, is a measure of the effect of carbohydrate on the blood glucose levels. If you look at the chart there, you'll see a low GI diet with the red line there. There's a mild increase in blood glucose, and it's long-lasting. As opposed to a high GI food, you get that spike there in the blood glucose level. Then insulin is released to get rid of that excess blood sugar, and that will be then stored as fat. Unfortunately, at that point, you'll get a crash, and you'll feel hungry again. And often, that process is repeated. You have something high in high GI sugar again, and you get another spike, and on it goes. So to avoid that, ideally, either eat low glycemic index carbohydrates, or if you do eat high glycemic index carbohydrates, then pair that with a lower GI carbohydrate or protein. So mix up the foods so the overall glycemic load is lower. Protein is converted to amino acids, which are used for cell growth and repair, so are therefore very important. There are no storage sites in the body for excess protein. Once all of the primary needs have been met, the remaining amino acids are converted to either glucose or triglycerides, which are fats, and then used for energy requirements or stored as fat. Protein is also very important for fat loss. It provides 3 important benefits in the weight loss process. Firstly, Protein helps boost energy expenditure. That is dietary-induced thermogenesis. That is the increase in heat production by the body after eating due to both the metabolic energy cost of digestion and the energy cost of forming tissue reserves of fat, glycogen, and protein. It is generally 10 to 15% of the energy intake. Protein costs more to digest and absorb and store than carbohydrates and fat. Secondly, protein helps build muscle. Diets often cause a loss in muscle mass. Adequate protein from your diet can reduce the loss of muscle mass during calorie-restricted diets. Maintaining or increasing metabolically active muscle tissue increases the amount of energy requirements to maintain that muscle at rest, in addition to the amount of extra energy required during exercise. Note that 1 kilogram of muscle burns 13 grams of fat per day. That's the equivalent of 600 grams or more than 600 grams of fat per year. To maintain muscle mass for weight loss, protein intake should be 1.05 grams per kilogram per day. Thirdly, protein helps suppress appetite. Like a low glycemic index carbohydrate, protein helps increase satiety. Eating more protein can help you feel fuller for longer and therefore lower your energy consumption. Therefore, you will experience higher satiety and lower hunger levels on a higher protein diet. Some success tips to eating a healthy, low saturated fat diet. Choose lean meat and remove all visible fat from meat and skin from poultry before cooking. Limit fatty meats such as sausages and salami. Note, turkey breast is a far better option. Use polyunsaturated or monounsaturated oils and margarines in minimal amounts. Choose low-fat cooking methods such as grilling, steaming, and boiling. Avoid frying. Restrict fast foods. Most have a very high fat content, including trans fatty acids. Eat more fruit and vegetables, legumes, breads, and cereals. Eat fish at least twice a week. Some success tips for decreasing your calorie intake include, for the majority of people, eating smaller regular meals. As mentioned already, it's not necessary to have more meals, but for most people that is easier to maintain their overall food intake. Eat slowly. This allows time for the satiety signals to reach your brain from your stomach. This generally takes approximately 20 minutes. Put your cutlery down and pause during your meals. Use smaller plates. Talk. Make eating a social experience. And take small bites and chew more. And plan your meals and snacks. The cost of consuming some foods and beverages include 1 can of beer will cost you, or you will need to run for 11.5 minutes at 10 kilometers an hour to burn that 1 can of beer. 100 gram slice of chocolate mud cake, you will need to walk for 100 minutes at 6 kilometers an hour to burn that off. 1 can of Coke, you'll need to do circuit training for 17 minutes. And 1 glass of wine, you'll need to cycle for 9 minutes at 18 kilometers an hour. Note that these figures are based on a 75 kilogram person. A person weighing less will need to exercise for longer to burn off the same amount of energy, and vice versa. Most of our dietary problems could be solved if we ate only when we were hungry, we stopped eating when we were full, and we chose fresh foods in preference to concentrated processed foods and drinks. Alcohol. There is no nutritional value to alcohol. It's just empty calories, so it's being stored as sugar. It's been stored as fat via sugar. But more importantly, the liver, which is responsible for metabolizing both alcohol and fat, cannot metabolize anything other than alcohol when alcohol is in your system. That is, all excess fat, protein, and carbohydrate will be stored as fat whilst there is alcohol in your system. Now, the liver can metabolize only a certain amount of alcohol per hour, regardless of the amount that has been consumed. Generally, for 1 unit of alcohol, it will take 2 hours to metabolize. So let's say you have a night out where you consume 5 units of alcohol, 5 drinks, then that will take you up to 10 hours to metabolize that alcohol. So anything that you've eaten within that 10-hour time frame will be stored as fat. So from a weight loss point of view, alcohol is the enemy. You really are best served to limit your alcohol as much as possible when you are trying to lose weight. The human body is made up of, on average, 57% water. When body water levels drop, our body systems are unable to function effectively. Daily fluid losses for most adults are between 1 and 2 litres. High temperatures, humidity, exercise and air conditioning will significantly increase these fluid losses. Note also that you can drink too much water. Excessive amounts of water can cause a lack of salt in the blood, which can lead to illness. In saying that, most people do not drink enough water. You should aim for 0.033 litres of non-caffeinated, non-alcoholic fluids per each kilogram of body mass. For example, a 70 kilogram person should drink 2.3 litres of water per day. In addition to that, you should aim to drink between 100 and 250 mils of water for every 15 minutes of exercise. Now that will be dependent upon, again, the environmental conditions and how intense you're working. Water is the preferred drink to provide your fluid that is required. Add a small amount of juice, for example, lemon or lime, to the water to aid absorption and digestion if you prefer. Avoid energy drinks as they often have high levels of caffeine or guarana, which is a herbal form of caffeine. Caffeine is a diuretic and will therefore increase dehydration. Sports drinks are suitable during and after longer, higher intensity exercise sessions, longer as in more than 90 minutes in duration. They're helpful as they contain electrolytes to aid fluid absorption. Once again, don't mistake thirst for hunger. Too often we eat when we're only thirsty. So have a glass of water, ensure that you are not thirsty before having a meal. That's the end of part 2.